When Flaxmere near Hastings makes the headlines, it's usually for all the wrong reasons. But some of its young residents are sick of being labelled gangland hoods, and they're giving their community and their lives a makeover. They invited Carmen Parahi for a visit.
I was raised on the west side of Flaxmere, and when I'm in the hood, I reminisce on
It's this type of image children in Flaxmere are working to change.
mob territory with the all dressed red.
This letter was sent to me by Adi Price, a 12-year-old boy at my old primary, Irongate school here in Flaxmere. Adi says, "We'd appreciate it if you could come and do a report about what we are doing and maybe even about how Flaxmere is not an ugly place.
A wonderful place and a nice place to live in.
And that's why we'd like you to come and visit us." How could I resist such a request? We found Adi Price painting on a public wall during school hours, something kids usually get into trouble for.
It's called an epiphany. We are painting a mural for Flaxmere.
This mural for Flaxmere started as an idea in Ari's classroom and has now become a community-wide project.
Really wanted New Zealand to see how Flaxmere is changing.
This wall's become a symbol of change for the children. It used to be covered by tagging and graffiti, so the kids painted over it with a splash of pride and care.
They've got a lot of pride in their work, and they always, the ones that walk past every morning, make sure that there's no graffiti there.
Will Ray's also Ari's dad, and his mum Louise is here too, supporting the project. Both of them grew up here in a community strongly influenced by the mongrel mob gang since the 1970s.
What they want to do with inviting you along is just to show the rest of New Zealand that there's more than just gangs in Flaxmere, that there is a positive attitude amongst the kids nowadays.
Earlier this year, Irongate School started inquiry learning, an educational method to help children learn. By methodically planning, researching and putting into action how they can make a difference in their community.
You are allowed to talk to each other about what you're doing. So they came up with, OK, we want to do something to make Flaxmere even better than what it already is. And then, ultimately, our vision of grandeur was that you would be sitting here and they would be able to share what they'd achieved with everybody.
They're also writing the world's first book about Flaxmere.
There's no books written about Flaxmere at all. Really the only thing that we had was going onto the microfiche and scrolling through and finding newspaper articles. So the librarian said to a group of the students, you know, I'd like to challenge you guys to make a book about Flaxmere.
The children's newspaper research has made them acutely aware of Flaxmere's gang issue and violent crime history. It's why they've become very determined to not only change their community, but also the perception of Flaxmere those news headlines have created.
Some of them felt that sometimes if you don't live in a community, it's easy to form an opinion about it just from what you hear from other people. So they wanted the opportunity to go, hey, come and have a look and see how awesome we are out here.
The amazing part of the school project is the children firmly believe they can actually change their community.
We got to be the best that we can be.
These Flaxmere teenagers believe they can create change too.
They can just see the pride in the students, and I guess that's one of the real main things. Pride in being in the academy, but just really running around, marching around and showing pride in being Flaxmere.
Joel is a former counter-terrorist commando, now turned teacher, and the man constantly challenging these teenagers.
There's too much negativity from the outside, weighing them down, and if we can just show them that they can be whatever they want to be, they've just got to put in the hard work.
Principal Louise Arnadu's also working hard to keep out the negativity, but the school isn't immune from it just yet.
The police struggled to break up the melee. One of them struck to the ground during the after-school fight. 200 kids involved. The headmaster says only a handful were actually fighting.
At times there can be a negative perception of Flaxmere, and it's heartbreaking really, because we see just our amazing students and how they have such huge potential. They're so capable and they deserve to be celebrated.
Louise inherited this school of 330 students and a 90% Māori and Pacific role 2 years ago. Since then, the college has received its best Aero reports and started a new services academy.
2. Step it off cleanly, by the left, quick, march.
Around school year we're quite respected. You know, they look up to us as role models.
Year 12 student Ngāwaka Heremia Harriman admits for the first time he's enjoying his schooling.
You know, I started to wag and, you know, bunk school and all that, but yeah, being in the academy, I know what I'm going to achieve. I know when I'm going to achieve it.
The Ministry of Education only expects academy students to finish the year passing NCA Level 1 with numeracy and literacy, but Flaxmere College expects a lot more from their kids.
Academies have been for troubled teens, but really I've seen it as another opportunity to help for a career in the Defence Force. Yeah, we've really come a long way, and we still have a lot of growing to do, but we can do it.
All gang colours, emblems, hand signs or references are banned from being used in the academy. Being different has created a challenge for them.
All I see is students that just need a bit of awhi and a bit of guidance to help steer them into the direction where they want to go. There's always going to be outside influences, but it's about focusing on our rangatahi and not some of the outside influences that are trying to hold them back.
And for whatever reason, some of them haven't grown up with a strong identity of who they are culturally. And it's just to strengthen those ties to being either Māori or Pacific and reaffirming our identity and being proud of who we are.
Flaxmere proud, these kids are changing the image of their community.